The biggest mistake a prisoner can make. Now, I've been asked this question a few times, or more than a few, quite a few dozen times on the channel. And when I've done a video not so long back, which I'll link to the end of this, which was the biggest mistakes prisoners make. Now, I did go through a range of different things, or different mistakes prisoners make. And the biggest one, which I didn't put in because I wasn't really going down this sort of route. I was talking about like people going into prison for the first time, and someone had said in the comments, but what is the biggest mistake ever? The biggest mistake ever is to grass. If you're in prison, obviously serving a sentence, do not grass. Obviously the bacons grass on each other, but they're on different wings, the VPs. But if you're out here as well, and you're in that type of circle, it's just the code anyway that you do not grass. But a lot of people go into prison and they become a grass. They're scared of what's going to happen to them. They've never been in prison before. They're suffering with the mental health. They're getting tested inside a prison, which happens. Then they go running to the screws. Now, what do you think's going to happen if you go running to the screws? You've all heard the saying, snitches get stitches. And that's exactly what happens. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of incidents where I've seen snitches getting stitches. When someone has turned grass and they're still on the wing, believe it or not, because you do get the ones that get deaded up and then they go to the screws, say they want to off the wing because they're going to get done in. And then the screws say to them, well, you have to give us names or we're not moving you. So they're behind the door, they're shitting themselves thinking when the door gets opened up, they're going to be attacked of the dealers on the wing. So then they sing like a canary and grass on the inmates. And then they're took onto the VP wings and they've got to go and live, hang their heads in shames and live with the bacons. But some who have grassed for other things have stayed on the wing. They went and grassed and thought, I'll just stay on the wing, still thinking they're a bit of a boyo. The minute you grass in prison, you're no longer a boyo, you are a bacon. When the grasses get put down on the VP wings, they all get called bacons. They're classed as bacons, even though they're not a bacon in the physical term where they've harmed little ones or anyone like that. Because they're down on them wings, they get classed as bacons as well. Now, an instance in HMP Durham, when I seen a lad get a double Mars bar on B wing inside of Durham. Obviously, it wasn't the lad who got grassed on that done it. He pays the lackeys, obviously the lads that are underneath him, who are, at the time, there was no spice in the incident that I'm talking about. It was subbies. So he was paid a measly half a subby, which back then was £20. Subbies used to go for £40 a piece. He was given half a subby. So whilst out on the exercise yard, he's come up behind him with a double blade and give him a double Mars bar. So the slang term in prison for a scar, I'm talking a big scar down the face, is a Mars bar, simply because Mars bar rhymes with scar. But when they give someone a Mars bar and they want to inflict serious injuries, they'll use two blades. They'll put two razor blades on the end of a toothbrush and melt them in. And the reason why they put two blades on, so imagine you've got two blades about that far apart from each other. When they stripe down the face, they call it striped. When he's been striped and he's got two gaping wounds, the nurses, when he gets took to hospital, or the doctors, can't stitch him back up, because if they stitch that one, it pulls the other side open. So they have to get glued or whatever, and it leaves the most horrendous scar. I've seen a lad walking around in HMP Franklin with a big Mars bar on his face. It was a double one, and it was as thick as my finger, because when it's healed up, it's just healed up, and it's left big, massive scarring that sticks out on the face. So that happened in HMP Durham on B-Wing exercise yard. But the screws are standing at a certain place where they can't see you walking round. So obviously on the blind spot, this is where this has happened. But that was a grass, and that was because he made the biggest mistake. He actually made the second biggest mistake by not putting himself on the numbers. But back then, there wasn't any numbers in Durham. I'm talking 2006, 2007. Inside of HMP Durham, everybody was mixed in. So he wouldn't have had the option to put himself on the numbers. They did used to have them on A-Wing. This was the Bacons up on the fives, because there was 5 lands. They were up on the top, and they were brought out at a different time to the rest of the other prisoners. So that was one instance. And there was another instance up in HMP Acklington where another lad had snitched. And in this instance, it wasn't a Mars bar. He actually got done with table legs. Because believe it or not, the tables they used to have back then, you could snap the legs off, and it was about 3 foot, big thick piece of wood. You've got 4, 1 on each corner, 4 lads, table leg each, in the pad. They've been paid again in subbies. This lad had grassed, so they ran in with the table legs and smashed his head in with the table legs. 4 lads, 4 table legs. You can imagine the mess he was in. He had more scars and more stitches than what you would have gotten off a Mars bar. His head was smashed open like a watermelon. And that was because, as the title says, he made the biggest mistake in prison. He grassed on the other prisoners. But then he went and grassed again, and these lads ended up getting shipped off and getting time added on to this sentence for Section 18 GBH. He actually went to court and grassed them up properly so he could get compensation. The horrible little rat what he was. He shouldn't have grassed in the first place. But that's what happens inside a prison, and that's the prison rules. If you commit the cardinal sin of grassing inside a prison, you've got to expect the biggest repercussion ever, and that is stitches. As the saying goes, snitches get stitches. Obviously out here, everybody in the criminal fraternity all say the same as well. It happens out here. So if you're in that lifestyle and you commit that sin, then you're going to expect them repercussions. And it's the same inside a prison. Apart from in there, you've got nowhere to run. So, if you're going to prison, do not grass. Anyways, people, I thought I would bring that one to you because, like I say, a lot of me subscribers have asked us for this video, and they've asked us what is the biggest mistake. Some people will be saying, if you're still watching up till now in the comments, the biggest mistake was being a prisoner. But I'm talking about the biggest mistake in prison. You're obviously already in. The biggest mistake is obviously getting into trouble and ended up in prison in the first place and becoming a prisoner. But do not make more mistakes whilst in prison. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you are enjoying that content. And you know the drill by now. If you are, comment, like and subscribe. And let us know if you want any more videos like this. Drop it in the comment section, people. Take care, and if you want any merchandise, hit the links in the description. Have a look at the wide range of different t-shirts. And if you want any workout and nutrition plans, hit us up. The links are in the comment section. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe.